Hello, hello. Buenos dias, good morning. What's going on? This is Introvert Boricua with another one of my struggle streams. Awkward, unplanned. This isn't planned at all. Well, it is planned to a degree because I started setting this up last night. But aside from that, it's kind of like a bit of an impulse. I wanna I wanna give a quick shout out to the chat. Definitely our elder Jose. What's going on? It's good to see you. And also, it seems to be making a little bit of a comeback. Our girl Denise is in the chat. What's going on? Yeah, feliz año nuevo, chica. Espero todo esté bien contigo y el Bebo y Justin. My guy, 18 letter. What's going on? What's up? Yeah, I'm gonna go into it a little bit. It's not so much of a scandal. It's just that when she got married to an athlete, but it's not the guy is not an athlete who is top level in his field, in his sport. So that's why there are a lot of women that are having such a problem with her being with this guy, and this is what we're gonna go into a little bit. Hey, Jose. Yeah. Ah, Jose with the blessings. Yes. Ah, ok. El bebo tuvo su primer cumpleaños. Me imagino que ustedes lo celebraron bien en grande. El bebé no se va a acordar de eso, pero he's not gonna remember. But I'm sure that you celebrated. Is the first one. You're always gonna remember that, I'm sure. All right. Okay. So again, what I was talking about is that I have been hearing a lot of things are being said in comments, in chats, um in live streams. There have already been like a couple of live streams in which they have been talking about this, and people that are having such a problem with the fact that not necessarily the fact, but the perception um, that Simone Biles is married down, that she married down. So there is that instance. Let's keep in mind. Let's keep in mind the fact that when it comes to the two getting together, and she was the one who shot her shot first, and that's she took the initiative. Me being from the culture that I'm from, I don't really have a problem with that because I come from a culture when it's fairly common for a woman to take initiative and shoot her shot. I should know. I should know. Going back into my past and when I have dated and all, there have been women that shoot their shot, and I think I don't think any less of them because of that. So I don't have a I don't see it. I don't see it being an issue. It being a problem. Having in a suit and a crown. He's the prince. All right, Jose, you're going to LA. Yeah. All right. Feliz Año Nuevo. Happy New Year. Feliz Año Nuevo. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming. The festivities are coming up. Jose, I'm sure that you're going to be going all the way to to Times Square to see the ball drop in the middle of that winter. All that cold. I know. You're Mr. Freeze. You can handle it. That's fine. Hey, Kichel. Hey, what's happening? Yeah. Hello, hello. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this looking a little better. Having trouble reading. I'm getting old. I have many friends that have almost that that shoot their shot and have been married for over a decade in Puerto Rico. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's okay. It's okay. At least for us. Maybe it's a Caribbean thing, not so much a Latin thing, because there are other parts in the so-called Latin Americas that maybe they will frown upon that. But the thing is that at least us in the Caribbean, a woman can shoot her shot, and that's fine. It shows that she is being assertive. That's a good thing. That's okay. That's a good thing. So I'm gonna bring a guest. What's happening, Jose? What's going on?
Hey, feliz año nuevo. So
Feliz
how are
año.
you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm dealing with the cold down here for me here. Maybe not so much today because it's in the 50s, but in the last couple of days it was in the 30s. So that was already too cold for me. So
Um,
it
that's
made
that's not cold. That's like autumn weather.
yeah, sure. That I know. That's how you see it. Well, actually, on this panel, I see that we have Denise and Kichel. Maybe we could take on the female perspective, if any of you would like to join the panel, because this is about a woman shooting her shot and her getting the results that she wanted in the end. But the thing is that there are being there are certain folks that are being so concerned about the girl's status. So maybe for those that maybe not know, I'm gonna I'm gonna see if I can read a little bit on Simone while I show some images. Hopefully they flow right, and the video, because I'm gonna be playing a little bit of video. Hopefully it shows okay for those that don't know. Let me see. So share the tab audio. Yeah, that won't be necessary. Okay. So when it comes to Simone Biles, this this girl is an American gymnast. This girl has become the most decorated gymnast in history. When it comes to credentials and what she has accomplished, this is somebody who is a seven-time Olympic medalist. Four of those medals were gold. Most of them were in Rio de Janeiro, back in 2016. Um, she's also, from what I reckon, I might have the number wrong, but she's like a 25-time world champions medalist. Most of these medals have been gold, because there are competitions in Europe and places like Antwerp and Doha, Glasgow, and it's a world championship. She's been doing this for the last, what, 10 years. She's only in her 20s. So this girl is actually very accomplished, and she has moves and she has routines that are named after her that only she can do. I mean, she's at the top. She's at the top of her discipline, at the top of her sport. She's 26 years old, so that's considered somewhat old in the environment of gymnastics. That's considered old, but she's still competing. She's still competing at a fairly high level. Now, there were setbacks that she had to deal with because that's another story. Because apparently there was some kind of a harassment situation with kind of like a team doctor, something like that. That's a different story. He was very unfortunate. The guy did got caught, and he was held accountable. I understand that the guy is in jail. Good thing. This was like a team doctor, something like that. Um, but there was also things that had to do with mental health, and when it comes to do the Olympics, to the Tokyo Olympics back in 2021, she had to withdraw from some of the events, citing mental health concern, not necessarily physical health concerns, but also um, mental health concerns, because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, understandably, because of the risks that are taken when it comes to what she does. I mean, the acrobatics that are involved into what she does. Injuries are it's extremely easy to get injured, to to end up falling the wrong way, as you can see in the images. I hope that the video is flowing okay, so it's looking so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the most decorated gymnast of all time. So she's the GOAT in her field. Now, let me see if I can. I'm trying to see. Okay, I wanted to make sure. Okay, so Jose, are you familiar? Are you familiar with her? Are you familiar with her and the situation? What is being talked about? Because it's not so much celebrating about her accomplishments, unfortunately. Although what is being said about her, being talked about her, it has to do with the choices in her personal life. Now she's a public figure, so we get to talk about that a little bit. She's very impressive when it comes to what she does, but yeah, they are trying to get on her case about who she's with. So,
Um,
Jose,
I'm
anything that
somewhat
you are familiar with?
familiar,
Mhm.
but basically because of the fact that we have some modern women getting upset because she pursued the guy instead of letting the guy pursue her. I mean, I think what the situation has revealed is some of the fallacy regarding some of the tenets that the modern women have accepted. You know that the woman is the prize, and that some women expect men to come in with a whole bunch of what they need to do, what have you, and then they're getting upset because this woman actually shot her shot, and look what happened. She's appeared to be happy with the guy that she's with, and of course that
Mhm.
flies against the logic regarding what some modern women believe.
Yeah. And the thing is, okay, I wanted to show these images to establish. I'm not minimizing at all who she is. I get it. I get it. She's at the top of the sport. She's at the top of her game. She's considered to be, well, she is the best of them all, the greatest of them all. She's the most decorated of them all. So I'm saying that I'm being abundantly clear on recognizing who she is and her greatness. Now, I'm trying to articulate it the best that I can. But there is criticism. There is criticism when it comes to the personal choices that she made. I'm gonna see if I can find. I'm gonna I'm gonna stop this. I wanted to make sure that okay. All right. Yeah, I'm doing this on the fly. I'm not really that, that prepared, but this is just a combo. Okay.
Yeah. I just shared your stream on my community tab.
Ah, thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Now, the all of the problem that some people are having, and this is fair use. Fair use. I'm gonna be clicking on the entertainment tonight clip. Hopefully, this doesn't represent an it doesn't represent an issue because this is entertainment tonight. Yes, it's entertainment tonight. So fair use, fair use. Let me see if I can, if it's okay that I can play the clip. It all comes down to a problem with the following. Let me see if I can make it look nice. It's just, the video might get janky, but the audio should still play okay. Let's see if I can get this out without much of a problem.
In the hell did you pull Simone Biles?
Really, how she pulled me, man? That's the question. Man.
Lord.
Simone Biles' husband, Jonathan Owen, says he's the catch in their relationship and admits when they first started dating, he had never heard of the four-time Olympic gold medalist.
It's something you don't want to miss.
The newlyweds, who tied the knot back in April, recently sat down for a chat on the Pivot podcast and reflected on how they first met after Simone popped up on a dating app back in 2020.
Let me see what this is. Gymnastics. I ain't never, I never really paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity,
While it seems unlikely or even impossible that the Green Bay Packers safety had never heard of Simone, he tried his best to explain how the Olympic hero managed to fly under his radar.
When she won the Olympics, I was in college, and we didn't have NBC, we didn't have Olympic channels, and we're in camp. Late July, early August, so I'm not paying attention to, so I never would have had a moment to where I would have watched like.
And the pro football player shared how he felt after she first messaged him.
I didn't know who she was at the time, but like the first thing that I saw was that she just had a bunch of followers. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she got to be good.
Once they connected, Jonathan says things took off fast. Simone driving 45 minutes to visit him in Houston, and the rest is history.
I guess sharing it is just a part of my story.
So you was really the catch in.
I always say we the men that catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did though.
Is what you said.
Cause I was fighting it. I was afraid to commit. But like I said, man, it happened when you least expect it.
It wasn't until they started stepping out together that Jonathan realized just how famous and beloved his leading lady is.
There was all these moms, and they're there with their kids, and we walked past, and everybody stopped and just. Kids are like shaking, and it was like, oh my God. And I'm like,
To me, I'm just Simone. So I'm like, how do these people even know who I am? But it's also cool that they recognize the talent that Team USA brought.
Jonathan popped the question on Valentine's Day 2022, and the couple said I do in April in a private City Hall ceremony in Texas.
Stop, I can't. You guys can make me blush.
They later tied the knot for a second time in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico in May, in front of 144 guests, including their wedding party of 8 bridesmaids and 7 groomsmen. And in the months since, Simone has frequently been spotted giving her man a supportive kiss before his games.
Oh, love it. Let's do that.
After the podcast went live, Jonathan faced some backlash over his "the catch" comment.
So you was really the catch in.
I always say we the men that catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did though.
But he's seemingly sticking by it, subtly addressing the criticism with an IG post. Unbothered, just know we locked in over here. And Simone, she slid into the comments to show her support, writing simply, for life.
How in the
Okay. So I wanted to play that little something for kind of like for context, but at the same time, that video could have been taken somewhat out of context because it's chopped up. There is a whole interview that can be seen. I understand it that it's kind of like a show or a podcast called The Pivot, and you can see the whole thing there. But the thing is that, well, yeah, he could have got carried away a little bit in the moment because he's being kind of like uh, being put on the spot, the relationship being put on the spot like that. So he could have gotten carried away a little bit with the catch thing, which is being nitpicked and torn apart by women in media. And the thing is that, like, hey, look, as long as he does good by her, because this is the reason that people say that he's not good enough for her is because he's not um, somebody who has won a Super Bowl, because he plays football. He plays for the Green Bay Packers and um, as a safety in the safety position, and from what is being said, apparently he wasn't drafted because all and anybody who plays football in college wants to be drafted into the league and wants to be seen as somebody who is valuable to a team and wants to be drafted and given a rookie contract. But that's not apparently that's not what happens with this guy, Jonathan Owens. He ended up securing a spot on the roster of the Green Bay Packers, but he wasn't drafted. He was somebody who had to go to camp and prove himself, and that is being held against him because that makes him seem like he's not valuable. Hey, he secured a spot. If he's securing a spot and he has a regular position, then that's an improvement. That's definitely an improvement, and hopefully he can keep that position secure for as long as possible. And it is being said that now he's being allowed to play more because of who he's with, because who his wife is. That might be partly true, but maybe she's being his inspiration for him to perform better and to do better and to prove himself. I mean, as we know, us guys that follow football a little bit, we know that when it comes to a football career, one can get cut at any time. One can get cut from a team at any time. So it's not something that that is necessarily guaranteed unless one is a star. Then that's when the contracts with the guaranteed money come in. Those are it's good when somebody is a star, a football player, because they are given the guaranteed contract that whatever happens, there is a certain amount of money that still goes to the player. But because the guy, the husband, is not somebody who is a star player, then he's seen as him not being good enough. So, Jose, any comments? Yeah.
First of all, okay, he may not be considered, quote unquote, a star or pro football player. But the fact of the matter is, he's still making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, a year. Okay. And we hear all the time, we're talking about how they want a guy that's making a six-figure salary, that's 6 feet tall and has a six-pack. Okay. Now this person is surpassed all of that and then some. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these women are upset because this gymnast actually got her guy. So she got picked, so to speak. So that there's a lot of jealousy involved because
Mhm.
she actually got what appears to be a good guy. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know too much about him. So there's a lot of jealousy involved. I mean, unfortunately, you have this twisted mentality that's saying, it's like, women can expect the moon and what have you, but yet when a man acts had standards, the man is crucified. I mean, that's the type of reality that we're dealing with today. So shout out to her and shout out to him because they appear to be happy with each other.
Yeah, yeah. So I looked up really quick, and I have an image of what should be. Let's see.
Oh, by the way,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, it's 44 degrees here in New York, so we haven't experienced winter yet.
Oh, it is winter.
No, that's not winter.
It is winter. Well, at least I could be able, if I was in New York, I would still be able to go out of the house and not catch a cold. So that's not too bad. 44 is not too bad. I will have to wear my big jacket and maybe a mask so I don't have to breathe in the cold air. But I think I will be okay. So this is a website that shows stats. Not just stats but also when it comes to contract, it should have a fairly accurate numbers. Now, from what I'm gathering, apparently he's already been playing football for the last 4 years. He started out with the Texans, and he played for a season with the Cardinals, where the salary was increased substantially. So he's averaging a little over $1 million per season. So I don't think it's fair to just call him all the way broke. Now, there are people that make a lot of millions, plenty of millions of dollars, but they don't do well with it, and they end up broke. Even stars, we all know about that. Whether it is in football or in basketball, we know about them. Star players that ended up broke because they got so used to a certain lifestyle that is very expensive, but it's not sustainable in the long run. Hopefully, these two do well. Now he's apparently on a year-by-year contract with the Packers. He played for 2 seasons with the Texans. Apparently, my understanding is that that's where him and Simone met, because Simone herself is a Texan. So he was playing with the Texans, and that's where they met, and they ended up getting hitched and all of that. But now he's playing for a season with the Packers, and the average is just a little over a million, but it's only 10, apparently like 10,000 guaranteed or something like that. But this looks like it was for the Texans contract. Now you take out the taxes. I know he's only getting like half of all of this. But the thing is that saying that he's completely broke, because that's how he is being painted as being broke. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the women that the women that say that they want somebody like this, but because of Simone being more famous, then shit. It's not a fair comparison. Yes, she's the superstar, but she chose him. She gave the green light to him.
Mhm.
I mean, you can't be hating.
Yeah. And let's not forget that many of these athletes, they also have other side gigs, like like endorsements from various different companies and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I mean, he could be making multiple millions of dollars. And again, it's just a lot of jealousy involved with some of these modern women.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have come across already. I have come across already on live streams in which they're being very particular about bringing up the fact that he was undrafted. So she is basically calling him a dust in many ways. But yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. But
Yeah,
that's what he has to deal with. And out of ego, he might have called himself a catch. Okay, maybe his ego got the best of him momentarily, but what matters in the end is how good does he do by her.
that's
That's
true.
what would be, yeah.
That's
In the
true.
end, that should be more important.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
they're trying to make it seem like it's not gonna last long because she might not have that much respect for him. I don't know. I don't think that's how she was raised, because she wasn't not only raised by a two-parent home. She was raised by her grandparents. I don't know what happened with her parents, but she was raised by her grandparents. So that's already a very different influence there. You see. So, and let me show you. I was just looking at it. The images of what apparently seems to be the house that they're building. He's sitting on the stair there. Of course, you can see that the house is unfinished. Now, if this was something that wasn't meant to last, I don't know if they will be building this. This is the house that they're building for themselves. They're kind of like at the side, and they're holding hands. And this post is um, about that, specifically that them building their house. So so far it seems like it's being for the long term,
Yes.
as it should be.
They both seem to be very happy with each other. Hopefully the marriage will last a long time, and it can set an example for other people to follow.
Yeah.
So
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I know that one can't say just because if as long as they're happy or whatever, but I just hope that everything goes on and works well for them. But that's pretty much how can I put it? Because I don't dwell too much on a subject. So yeah, that's basically how.
yeah. Hello, Irby. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, RB. Yeah, you're watching. I know. I know. What's happening? Yeah. So you're gonna be like I mentioned before. You're gonna be out on the cold when the ball drops.
First of all, we haven't had any cold weather in New York yet. Okay, number one. Number two, I'm going to a New Year's Eve party, so I'm gonna have some good food, maybe have a coquito and watch the ball
Yes.
drop.
Yeah.
Now,
Have some pasteles, but don't be putting ketchup on it.
or maybe I'll put peanut butter.
Ew. No. What the hell? No, don't do that. Put peanut butter on it. I mean, ketchup is Americanizing it enough. Don't make it worse with no peanut butter.
Oh, come on now. You have to experiment now and then.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Not with no peanut butter. I'm telling you.
but last week, actually the week of the 18th, I was on vacation. So I went to Rockefeller Center and I saw the Rockettes. Then I went to see the tree. And then I went out to Olive Garden to get something to eat. The only thing that spoiled the day was it wasn't cold enough.
Well, that's good. That's good that it wasn't too cold. That way you can actually go out and do your thing. And
Yeah, but you know me, I don't feel the cold.
you don't. Yeah, I know you don't feel it. You are kind of like a polar bear skin. I get it.
So, but I will say this much: I really appreciate all the love and support I've been getting from my supporters.
Mhm.
In fact, last week my platform gone over 50,000 views.
All right, that's good. That's good. I need to be more consistent. I'm not gonna get anywhere if I'm not consistent. But yeah, that's good. That's great.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's
So,
very good.
how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was okay. It was all right. It was all right. And uh, I was thinking about maybe I was gonna travel, but I haven't been feeling that great, so I'll stay at home. So
Okay.
I'm just getting there, getting better. In a couple of days, I already have to get back to work. Ugh. But at least I did have a few days to myself. So
Hmm.
yeah. That's important. I'm still in contact with the people that matters. I talk to them. I talk to my sister. I talk to my aunt. Um, yeah, I talk to a couple of my friends. So yeah, everybody's good. They're far away from me right now, because of things. But it's all good. It's all good.
Well, like I said, I'm going to a New Year's Eve party tonight, and I'm going to a Three Kings party on Friday. So
Mhm.
you know, I have a couple plans for the new year, doing some things different with my channel.
Yes.
Lately, I've been doing a lot of shorts.
Hmm. I have to get into the shorts game because I know that brings viewers, but I have to know how to do it right, how to do it properly, because I know that a lot of the shorts are done through TikTok, and with TikTok you can add images and graphics and music to whatever it is, and some people do a really good job at that. They are very good at doing the shorts, like our girl Kishelle. I see all of her hair shorts. I know that she's very proud with those long twists that she has on the dreads.
Well, I actually did one short that gotten close to 5,500 views.
Wow. Oh, nice, nice. That's very good.
You know, but I do miss the cold though. We haven't had decent winter here in New York in years.
Hmm. Okay.
And believe it or not, I actually for the first time in Rochester I saw a rat.
Ah, you saw a rat today?
Yes.
Yeah. What about yesterday and the day
No.
before? All the rats. There are certain, come on, come on, come on. Don't make me show it. Don't make me show another image of the fat the fat rat that is so fat that it moves slow.
I
Like
mean, look,
golly.
I admit we do have a slight rodent problem here in New York.
Yeah. No. I mean, this is quite disturbing, actually.
But look, but the fact of the matter is, I'm really happy with the growth. And actually, within the last 3 months, I've gained close like 50 subs.
That's good. That's good. Oh,
Yeah.
you're doing good. You're doing good. It's kind of like a slow process, but you're doing good.
Yeah,
Definitely.
well, Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Hmm.
But hopefully this might inspire some of the ladies to shoot their shot, and just, if they see a guy that they think that they're that's worthy of them, then maybe they won't be so shy, and maybe they'll
Hmm.
shoot their shots.
A lot of guys right now are too afraid. A lot of guys are too afraid to try to approach a woman because of the accusation of being a creep, accusations of being a stalker. It's all an innocent approach, the way that it's always been. But
But
these days, in this society, in this country society, is becoming like a man is very unsure of being able to do that, because the it's not just being rejected; it's actually getting accused of being doing something wrong. Because a lot of the time it's because these women, the women are not finding the guy attractive enough. They're not finding him physically attractive enough, and instead of being nice about it, but then they start making accusations, and that's not right. That's not right, and that's why a lot of guys logically would rather not make the approach, because nobody wants to get accused of being a creep or a stalker or whatever. Absolutely not.
well, this is the perfect example. Be careful what you ask for, because you will get it. The fact of the matter is, I mean, women's been saying for a long time, they don't need a man, they don't need a man, whatever. So basically, the men has gotten the memo, and that's why a lot of these men are not approaching these ladies nowadays. Hello, Rakim. Happy New Year.
What's going on, Rakim?
Hey, shout out to Jose, my YouTube dad. Happy New Year's to you, Jose. And shout out to my boy, the introvert Bodiqua. Just want to come up and show some love and support.
Appreciate it that you can come up. So I was waiting for you earlier. I was like,
Oh,
I'm
sorry
sure
about that.
I'm
Yeah, I
sure
was
that I'm sure that Rakim has something to say about this. I was expecting you earlier than this, but anyway, that's okay. I mean, when it comes to the subject or whatever it is that you wanted to say before that, let's hear it.
Oh yeah. I was actually speaking on the phone with some relatives that was calling me for New Year's Eve. So
All right.
but yeah, like the situation with Simone Biles is not nothing new. Is no, I don't think anybody's really surprised with, a lot of these bitter women that was actually, practically wishing her the worst, and that's I think that's opposite of what the sisterhood says that they do on a regular basis, as far as wanting to be there for women or support women. In reality, they really want this young lady who's in her 20s, mid 20s, 26 to be exact, and this young man that's 28 for their marriage to fail. And we've actually seen that, when it comes to um like these her, shooting her shot at him, and you know uh them getting married and different things like that. I mean, some of these women don't want that. They don't want that because it goes against their narrative. So that's what we see. And it's a sad day that she had to really check them on her own Instagram post, and different things like that. So if this don't show the falsehood in the sisterhood, I don't know what will.
And the thing is that it's not the first time that she's getting some criticism. I'm gonna show you something really quick. Now that you're saying that she's been getting criticism, I can show you something really quick that has to do with criticism of her in the past. Now this is on a page of this young lady, Diamond Fierce. This is somebody who has a good head on her shoulders. I like following what she does and what she says when it comes to criticism. Let me show you something that she was bringing back when it comes to all of this mess. Let me see if I can get the.
Because y'all definitely,
Okay, let me again. The audio was off.
you know what? I actually forgot about that because y'all definitely were dogging this woman about her hair in 2016. And that just goes to show that when women claim that they support women and, they talk about girl power and all this stuff. Y'all really are just fake and phony because y'all are not for women. Y'all don't care about girl power. Y'all want to see other women be miserable. Y'all talk so much shit about this woman in 2016. Forget about her being the greatest gymnast in the world. Y'all were worried about her hair. And then not only that, when she got married, y'all were talking about her wedding dress. Y'all were talking about how her dress was cheap and talking about how it came from Amazon and it was only $120. Just completely overlooking the fact that this woman looks extremely happy in her wedding photos. Y'all were more worried about how much she spent on her wedding dress and was dogging her for buying a cheap dress. Now her husband has this interview and y'all are trying to pick apart everything he said in that interview with a pair of tweezers, trying to create a problem where there isn't one. Y'all are trying so hard to turn this man into a red flag. Y'all are trying to make it seem like, he's belittling her and he doesn't see the value in her, which he never said any of that shit. Trying to make it seem like, oh, he's insecure, she deserves better. And I feel like y'all do that because y'all want to see women be alone and be unhappy because y'all are alone and y'all are unhappy. Y'all can't stand to see other women happy because you are so miserable in your life. So anytime you see that, y'all will do anything to try to bring that down. Y'all will throw stones and hide your hands and make it seem like, oh, we're just for women. We just want to see women do better. No, y'all want to see women be lonely and be miserable like you. You know what? I actually forgot about.
Okay. What do you think about that?
That is completely accurate. That is completely true. They did make fun of this girl's hair when she was some years back and everything. And what she said is actually accurate. And I know people would look at me and they say I have my biases and different things like that. Listen, I love women. I love you without what can you do without women? But it is a segment of women out here that are very, very mean-spirited. They're very miserable, and they're looking to bring misery to a lot of these other ladies. And look at how they tried to literally bully this young girl. And when you look at that interview with the things that her husband was saying, because he said, I didn't know who she was. And I don't know, a lot of us in our everyday lives that watch the Olympics. The only reason I knew who Simone Biles was because of that brief. She was I forgot how, I can't even remember how I know who she actually is, but most of us, we don't watch the Olympics like that. So I can understand where he was coming from, and the fact that he said he had so much going on with being injured, trying to get through his injury, see if he can actually make it to the NFL and everything. I can believe when he said that. He said that he didn't know who she was at the time, and everybody made a big deal out of that. They made a big deal out of her shooting her shot at him, which I think at this particular point we're going to see more of that because of the way things have worked out within this last 10 years. And it wasn't anything wrong with that. It wasn't nothing wrong with that. And the funny thing about it is more important things going on in the world, but the sisterhood turned this into a real big story. And a lot of them, the comments that people say online are just vile. People are very mean-spirited, very miserable, and and a lot of this was very unnecessary, to the point that she had to address some of these women on her own Instagram page. It's really sad. It's really sad, and it goes to show you that a lot of these women don't want nobody to be with nobody because they felt like they too knee deep in the game. And it ain't no turning back for them. So that's what happened when people are miserable. When they're miserable, they want to drag you down with them, and for their own, for their own personal enjoyment, to get through their own misery. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jose,
Yeah.
you have a comment?
Well, it goes back to what I said before. I mean, unfortunately, you have a lot of bitter women that are upset because they don't have their dream man. And this athlete actually should have shocked us, like, how dare you go against the logic that we talk about, where they are the prize. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of jealousy involved.
Now, to put it kind of like in context, it might be kind of that, like this little part. It all comes down to this tiny little part, of a comment that the guy said. Let's see if I can get it.
Nobody is gonna call him Simone Biles' husband. They'll call me Jonathan Owens' wife.
You know, the more I keep seeing this, the more it's starting to make sense. See, because everyone feels like Simone Biles is dimming her light in order to please her husband's ego. Y'all think that Jonathan just pretended not to know her so that he doesn't have to acknowledge all of her accomplishments. And y'all cannot stand the fact that she's not throwing it in his face that she's more successful than he is. Y'all want her to have a bad attitude so bad. Y'all want her to boast about being strong and independent and successful and not need no man and all that bullshit. Y'all want her to do that so bad because that's what y'all do. Y'all love to throw it in men's face that you feel like you're better than them because you're more successful than them. And y'all can't stand that she is not the type who wants to do that. Y'all can't stand that she just simply wants to be Jonathan Owens' wife. But what's crazy is that y'all have not yet considered that maybe being Simone Biles is stressful as hell. Because let's break it down. She's already an athlete. Literally everything about your life is monitored whenever you're an athlete. What you eat, what you drink, how often you sleep, how often you work out, how much you work out. So that's already a level of stress on its own. Now let's take it a step further. Not only is she an athlete, but she's an athlete in the Olympics. Now you're not just a regular athlete. So now there's another level of stress that comes with that, because now those regulations and what's being monitored when you're just a regular athlete, now that is multiplied whenever you get into the Olympic realm. There's a different level of expectations whenever you're in the Olympics. So that's another layer of stress on its own. Not only is she in the Olympics, she is an Olympic gold medalist. The expectations for her have now just increased again. Throw in the fact that she's now a celebrity. So now it's not just trainers and coaches that are watching over her. Now she's also in the public eye where everybody is watching her. So not only does she now have athletic expectations, now she has to deal with criticism. Y'all have talked about the way she looks. Y'all have criticized her for her hair. Y'all have said that her body type is too masculine. So now there's another layer of stress there. I would imagine that being Simone Biles is an extremely stressful experience. So when it comes to him not making a huge deal about her being, the Simone Biles, I honestly feel like that is a relief for her. Y'all think him not publicly praising her for all of her accomplishments is about his ego, but I honestly feel like it's just simply because she doesn't want that. I don't believe she wants the value that she brings to her marriage to be equivalent to anything to have to do with her career. I don't think she wants it to be about that. I think when she's with her husband, she just wants to be his wife, and that's it. And a lot of you don't understand that, especially women, because a lot of you, whenever you have successful careers, you like to use that to belittle your man and make him feel less valuable than you. Because of that, you guys are unable to comprehend whenever another woman doesn't want to do that.
Nobody is gonna call him Simone Biles.
All right. Basically, this is so well articulated, and here I don't really have to say anything about it.
I think it's very refreshing to see someone of her character, speaking in terms of, he wanted to try to have a normal life as much as possible, considering that she's in everyone's viewpoint. Hello, Denise.
Hey, Denise, what's going on?
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry if there's some background noise.
We hear him. Oímos al bebo.
Yeah.
We hear the boy. Okay.
So I just wanted to say a few things. Look, I've finished the Morning Madness. So I think, look, in my opinion, right? I think he did know who she is. He just said that because probably he just don't want to appear like, hey, I just got with her because she is Simone Biles. I think that's what he did. But when he says, I'm the catch, I think that's what rubs a lot of women the wrong way. And I think it's because there's a large misconception in society from both sides, from both men and women. And it needs to be, I think it needs to be clarified. Yes, your husband is the catch. There's a caveat to that. And the caveat is there's a big if your marriage succeeds, he's the catch. If he doesn't succeed, if the marriage doesn't succeed, then no, he wasn't the catch. He'll be just a man that probably, it will either bring good or bad to your life depending on what you chose. But for example, when you get with a guy, and a lot of women saying oh, he's broke and stuff, majority of men, if you marry young, are not going to be where they want to be because they're getting there. They're working towards going in that direction. Like I've said several times, when my parents married, my dad told us all the time, all I had was left over after the wedding and paying for the little honeymoon that I could afford. I only had $25 in my pocket. He
Mm.
still managed to start his business at 27 years old, and he put us to private school. Me and my sisters never needed for anything. But at the time that he married, he was not that man. No one is.
Yeah.
He's too young to be where he's supposed to be. If you even look at the numbers in America, if you even become a millionaire, the average age for that is 49 years old.
Right.
He's very far away from that, but you're not going to wait till that person gets there. She's doing what you're supposed to do, which is just pick someone of value and start living. I
Mhm.
just don't understand why that's so complicated and why that's frowned upon. And what bothers me is that if her marriage, God forbid, doesn't succeed,
Mhm.
there's going to be an army, and I'm sorry for the word I'm going to use, but there's going to be an army of bitches coming. You see,
Yeah.
that's why you don't marry broke guys. You see,
Yeah.
that's why you don't marry men that say that they're the catch. You get my point? But at the end of the day, she's doing the right thing. I don't see anything wrong with the decision that she took. She's seeing this as a long-term thing. And that's why she married. Because usually women that marry young before they hit 30, they see the long run. You're not seeing, you're not marrying because that person brings something to your life. You're marrying because of what you can bring to the equation. I don't know if that makes sense.
Denise,
Yeah.
there's a problem with that. Would you like to say, or should I do it?
Ah, you say it better than me.
It makes too much sense.
Yeah. We live in a society, man, that has a lot of hate. I just there's a lot of hate towards marriage, and now that I'm a mom, I can say it doesn't get better when you have kids.
Hmm.
It gets worse. It's like almost like a hatred for like families.
Mm.
It's really bad. It's almost evil, I would say.
Yeah, what you were saying about if things didn't work out, and all the women that will that are gonna come out and
Oh
try
my God.
to lecture about, yeah, I told you so. They're
Yeah.
gonna be
There's
saying
gonna be a
something along
rain of
those lines.
bitches falling from the sky like the Powerpuff Girls to tell
Yeah,
and
but those
say
are
their
the
two
same
cents
women,
about it.
and those
Yeah.
are the same women that couldn't secure a man to begin with. They couldn't even get the ring. They couldn't even get the
Yeah.
altar and the wedding day. They couldn't even get that. But they're trying to
No.
lecture somebody about not being with somebody. Like
Yeah.
it's always the one that
It's because those girls, like I've noticed that there's a lot of women that at a young age and even at old age just don't want to put in any type of work in order to be in a relationship. And a relationship is, I've said it several times, is a second job.
Mhm.
It's a second job. You get benefits, absolutely. It's beautiful. I wouldn't change it for the world. I would not say to anybody, don't get into one. Get into a relationship. It's the best thing you'll ever do. But it is work. And it will take work to get to one that's worth it. And I feel like a lot of women nowadays, they don't want to do, there's a bunch of women that don't want to do what they need to do in order to make it work with someone. And unfortunately, what they have to deal with is the men that also don't want to do anything with their lives.
Mhm.
And what happens is that they judge all the dating market based on what they have access to. And that's what we get the commentary that we get on situations like Simone Biles, you know?
Yeah.
And
Hey,
it's crazy.
all right, all right. Raquel, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say how ironic it is that some of these women that are only making $30,000-$40,000 a year have a whole bunch of student loan debt, calling this man broke, and this man makes $1 million a year and is in the NFL with potential to make more money than that. and I just find that very ironic that these same women that calling somebody else a broke, but they're
Yeah.
sitting here with loads of college loan debt, loads of barely making it themselves, but they're gonna identify who's broke and who isn't, and they have no type of spouse to really help them. And if I'm not mistaken, Ramon, then we see not that long ago, what's her name? Man, I can't think of a name right now. What's
Who?
her name? The actress from Baby Boy, Taraji P. Henson. Taraji. Then we just see her breaking down not that long ago about not having a man and how things is so hard, and because she's dealing with everything herself.
Mhm.
On her.
Yeah, she's talking about that. She's. I don't know what she blames it on, but she's talking about that she's not getting paid enough. I mean,
Now I'm talking prior to that, she was saying those things that I had just mentioned, and when she was speaking with
yeah, that was a while back. Yeah. I remember. She was
Yes.
talking about that she was going to a retreat by herself, and
yeah,
she didn't have anybody in her life. She didn't have a significant other, or something like that. But she didn't want to mention as to the why, that maybe it was her the
Yeah.
issue.
mm-hmm.
She didn't want to admit that part.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because she was speaking with Angie Martinez, who's really who's a close friend of hers, and I think, like I said, some people are too knee deep in the game. It's like when you've been manipulated into believing something is right, and you've invested so much into it, it's hard to turn back, man. It's
Mhm.
it's hard to turn back, and I think that's where some of these, because it's a difference between real women and bitter women. And some of these bitter women have invested so much into that lie of believing that they don't need men and men are beneath them and they're more educated. When you've invested 10 to 15 years into that, that's difficult to turn back. I got respect for the women that invested 15 years into their relationship, or 10 years into their relationship, and it didn't work out. I understand that everything doesn't work out, and sometimes people just they go their separate ways. I get that, but these are women that have always misjudged men, looked down upon men, felt that I'm at this level, I can't get a man at this level. Well, that man that you want at that level, did you even consider what he may want? And I think a lot of the times they don't get that. Just like we've seen a delusion when you watch these videos of men asking women on the street how much money should their man make, and these women are talking, 200,000 a year, 250,000.
Those are random numbers that they come up with.
I'm
But
like, it's like 2% of the country. Are you like? But this is what and we've gotten to this point because unfortunately a lot of these women have been brainwashed into thinking that for monetary reasons within itself. You feed women a bunch of lies, a bunch of BS, and get their emotions riled up, and they'll pay you money to hear that stuff. No different from Steve Harvey, no different from Derek Jackson. Even whatchamacallit, what's her name? April Mason even told the lead attorney, you want to make money in this business, feed women a whole lot of fluff.
Yeah. Tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah, and it's been indoctrinated. And it's gotten to the point now that these women know that it's just what they want to hear, because they just can't, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't.
Yeah.
But you know something, Joaquin? What some of these women they don't understand is that these men, they're making 300,000 a year, 400,000 a year, and then so on. They have to pick whoever they want. Okay, so they're not going to settle for someone that is fat, overweight.
Oh no, you can't say that.
You know what? I don't care.
You have to say caloric challenge.
I'm going to say what I'm going to say anyway. I don't care. I have the right. So they're not going to pick women that are overweight, fat, that have like 10 kids by 11 baby daddies and what have you. I mean realistically, these men have standards, and with some of these women, I'm sorry to say this, People are going to hate me for it saying it, but they don't even come close to meeting the standards that these guys want. Hey, Keshal.
Hey, Kichel, what's going on,
Hi,
girl?
how you
Hi,
guys doing?
Kitchell.
Happy New Year's.
What's up,
Happy
Giselle?
New Year.
Happy New Year's Eve. We're not in New Year's yet, but New Year's
Well,
Eve,
we're technically in the new year already, no?
almost there.
Technically,
Uh,
only hours.
Isn't some parts of Earth already living in 2024?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
We're already in the past.
I'm happy to be
Yes,
with you guys up here. I was listening earlier. My daughter just went home to Buffalo. I had to help her in the car with all her bags and her dog, so I had to drop down. But it was sounded very interesting. I didn't catch what Simone Biles did though. So can somebody tell me what she did that was so bad or
no, no.
so
What it seems that it was so bad is that she didn't marry somebody who was necessarily what is considered on her level. And yeah, it's true. It's true. The guy is not on her level because if you make a comparison of her career with his career, it's not. It's gonna be an unfair comparison because she's the most decorated gymnast in history in the world. And Jonathan Owens is somebody who is consistently working for the last 4 years and playing football in the NFL, but he came in undrafted. So that is being used against him. So that means that he wasn't a star, that he didn't catch the interest of pro teams after he graduated from college. So it was eventually that he was able to go to camp, prove his worth, and actually be be put on a roster. But he's not a star player. I mean, Simone Biles is a superstar in her field, but Jonathan Owens is not a star on his. So that is being used against him. Him not being good enough for her. So it's the gossiping thing. It's not something that she did or didn't do. What she did is get married, but it's the who that is being a problem. Who she married.
well, that's like how people are talking shit about Sierra with that football player Russell Wilson. Mm.
No, 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 but very different, very different. The whole thing with Russell Wilson and Ciara, very different because Russell Wilson is somebody who is somebody who actually won a Super Bowl. He is somebody who is actually a star player in the NFL. I mean, he's the one who is more consistently successful, if anything, in comparison to Ciara. Ciara had success back in the day making music, but she's been more Russell Wilson's wife. It's a different situation. It's not the same thing. Now, what happens with Russell Wilson is that he seems too much. I mean, and she goes off and do whatever the hell she wants and goes on social media and well, maybe not so much now, but she was for a time doing things for attention, trying to get all of this additional attention when she has a husband at home. It's a whole different situation. But you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Simone Biles' fiance or husband doesn't have as much money as she has, like, does it really matter? We see already in Hollywood and Hollywood what happens when two rich people get married, and what happens when they have a life together. Like, it rarely lasts.
Yeah,
So
it's
maybe
like
she did
Donkey
that.
said. Like Donkey
Yeah,
says, celebrity weddings they never last. Donkey and
exactly. So
Shrek. He
maybe
says the
this is
exact
all
same
testing
thing.
for her.
Hmm.
Maybe it'll work out for her because look at all the people in the news. Tyrese Gibson and his ex-wife, DJ Envy and his wife. Like, once you marry in the public eye, like, you have no privacy. All your business is out there. You know who you cheating with. All the personal assistants are exposing the celebrities' personal business behind the scenes on all these blog rooms. So maybe for Simone Biles, maybe she's dodging that bullet, or maybe she'll still have that problem once they are seen together a lot of whatever cases. But I think it's admirable, that she did that and she's the big dog and he's not necessarily the big dog. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think people are just too caught up into what they see on TV and what they think they have to have because they're constantly watching other people live this fairy tale, beautiful, married, happily home life that's very commercial and very not real.
Yeah.
Kesha, the issue is that she pursued her husband, and with some other women, that's a big no-no.
Hmm. Mhm.
Okay, well, that's true. A lot of women don't pursue their men, their husbands, their partners, but there are some very aggressive, assertive women that don't mind, taking charge and being the lead and proposing to their husband. Like, we've seen that on ghetto ratchet shows like Love and Hip Hop. We saw this girl, Chris
Mhm.
Lampkin, ask her fiance, Jim Jones, to marry her in a room full of people. And we can all see that he was not ready to say yes. And it was very embarrassing. And she cried. And I don't know any woman that did that to her husband in the public eye on TV with all the cameras. And she caught flack for that. Women called her dumb. They called her stupid. They called her so many names for taking the man's role and proposing. Like, she caught a lot of flack behind that. And I think they end up even not staying married, I think.
And then let's not forget too. Let's take for example, I'm a Jim. I can say I'm a Jim Jones fan off of his Dipset, off of his Diplomat days and everything. And let's not forget that a lot of the times his mother was always in his late relationship because his mother didn't have a man of her own, and so she was always in his and Chrissy's relationship. And we know people like this. We know people like this in real life that they'll get involved in their daughter's relationship or their son's relationship, looking to live vicariously because they don't have any business of their own because they don't have a spouse. And I'm sure, and Ramon, you remember what she said, Ramon, on that video, on the interview. What did Simone Biles say? I went after what I want. I know what I want.
And no, and I don't have a problem. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Denise knows what I'm referring to a degree. I'm sure that Jose knows what I'm referring to. But in our culture, it's fairly common for women to take initiative, and that actually comes across as a positive because it shows
Look,
assertiveness.
women in our culture are aggressive for what they want.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
Puerto Rico, if a woman likes you, she will go. Well, you can ask Justin how I was, but that's just how we are. If you want someone, you go after that person. That's not
Yes.
something you should be ashamed of. You like someone, period. I just feel like I think that and it's crazy. It's a cultural shock, I think, in America for me at least. I don't know if you feel the same way, Hamon, but the fact that there's so much avoidance of displaying like positive emotions. It's like oh, he cannot see me or she cannot see me showing any emotion whatsoever. But when it's positive, when it's negative emotions, we see no problem on the American population showing that. And I'm not saying all, of course, I'm saying the bulk. And it's something that starts. I was just telling MK early, like it starts in childhood. It's that avoidance of being vulnerable. And I think that's what a lot of chicks here struggle with, flirting, struggle with letting their likes known, struggle with showing that something hurt them, struggle with a lot of that stuff. And it's because of that. Like they don't want to be seen as, oh, I'm vulnerable. Because that's considered like you're lacking maybe some strength. And I'm like, who wants to be that strong? I don't care if something hurts me, I'm gonna cry. I'm a crier. I accept it, I admit it. I don't care. And if I want something or if I like someone, I will just let it be known.
Yeah, I
What's
agree.
the
I think
problem
it's
with that?
definitely a cultural thing because I hear what you're saying, Jason. I definitely didn't grow up, shooting your shot and was never motivated to go for what you want. I was the girl, if a boy beat me up, I knew he liked me, and I had to be aggressive and assertive back. Like, if he pushed me down the stairs, he liked me. He wanted to be my boyfriend. Or if he teased me, he liked me. I wasn't growing up taught to love and being affectionate and all of that, and the birds and bees talks in that way, and understanding love languages and stuff like that. It was always don't show your emotions. Don't let someone see you weak. Don't let someone know your vulnerable spots. And that was in every situation. So I can see, what you're saying, from my, background, from my experience, it was definitely a little bit different for me. Even when you got a boyfriend or, you were married, it was like, you don't become super feminine. You're still masculine. You still play both roles, no matter what.
Yeah, it's like almost like a fear, and it's both sides. It's not just the girls because men have the same behavior going on. So that's why I said it. I think it starts at childhood when you have parents that refuse to show that vulnerability. There's no bond with parents. I don't see that often in the American society. That whole bonding thing with parents where you have that strong emotional connection or that, things can get sorted out and your parents can be like, hey, I made this mistakes, this happened. That used to be because if you go to like older generations, they were like that. But I think after a certain age, I hate to say it, Jose, don't hate me, but I think after the boomer generation, there's there's
Uh-oh.
no more there's no more don't throw me the chancla, Jose, but after the boomer generation, there's no more vulnerability. It's almost like boomers wanted to portray themselves as, at least in parents, right, as this perfect beings. And what that created, in my opinion, of course, I'm no professional in human behavior, but that's just my observation. But what that created was like a bunch of kids that knew that showing emotions was not worth it because it was looked at as something weak. And when you translate that into relationships and society, you get what you see here in America, which is women are too scared to appear vulnerable to men because they have that fear mindset. And then you have men that don't trust women enough to show their emotions because women cannot bond with them to the point that they won't use their emotions against them in the future. You get my point? So it's always like, yeah, both of you guys, not you precisely, but like both men and American women are scared of each other. And
So,
it's showing.
yeah. Daughter,
Yeah.
just consider yourself fortunate. You're my favorite.
Ah, I'm not in the garage yet. Okay, I'm still in my room.
And Jose, you don't gotta take up for the whole boomer generation. You only gotta take up for yourself in this one.
That's true.
Look, let me tell you something. And I have said this before, and I said it on the stream when Denise actually was on the panel. I mean, when it comes to the baby boomers, we have to own up to a lot of mistakes that we have made. Some of us have taken accountability for it and tried to be better for it. Not all of us has done that, and I cannot speak for those that chose not to. I can only speak for Jose Negron.
Yeah, I wanted to second what Cashel was saying because I do remember that time period too. Cashel, it's like when I was growing up too. If girls was hitting you, if they hit you in the back of your head or did some type of what would be deemed aggressive, that meant that they liked you. I remember that to this day.
Hmm. Hmm.
I definitely remember that to this day. Or pick an argument with you, or all different stuff like that. But Denise definitely had a point in some of the things that she was saying, and I think because I do know it is feminism over on the island, and because I understand that it is rubbing what's going on here in the mainland is rubbing off in the island, and that's because here, unfortunately, feminism is a business. It's been warped into that, and I think a lot of the times we consume what we see without giving it a second thought. When we watch television, we don't realize how much we take in, or when we watch what's going on the internet, we don't realize how much we take in, and we don't know that our minds is being manipulated to even think a certain way. I think now as adults we understand that, but your mind is being manipulated to have a different perspective on things that could be subconsciously affecting you without you even knowing it. And I think that's what has happened. There's been so much push of independent women, so much push in the music, the media. Now things are trying to revert back because people have ran into a brick wall. But we can remember growing up, the Beyonce the Destiny's Child independent woman, the different talk shows or television shows of women being independent and they're no longer needing men. We remember all of this stuff. And this was when we was children. And the fact that we was, certain people coming up in households where they didn't even see their mothers being affectionate towards men. So they didn't, and a man, thinking that he was supposed to be shamed for everything, thinking, oh, that's just the way women are, man. If they talk down on you, don't just ignore it and stuff like that. Not even realizing how much that has an effect, an effect on your psyche, on the way you think or the way you view yourself. Women emasculating, young men, even in the same age in school. I've seen plenty of times women jump up in boys' faces growing up. Like literally jump up in their face, like we gonna fight.
Yeah, that's not sustainable. I mean, that's only contributing to the problem later on when those same boys are just not gonna trying to date them, or maybe they get with a woman of a different race, and then those women are gonna complain about that. That the boys that they used to bully because they could, they're getting with somebody of a different culture or a different race, and that's gonna be a problem. But they don't see what they were doing. They don't see how they were abusing their position as women.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that happened.
Generational too, sorry to cut you off right there. It's generational, so it's in you without knowing it's in you. You know what I'm saying? And so you're in a situation.
And that's the thing too. Like even when you said Kashel was generational, because sometimes in the households that we're brought up, sometimes we'll even allow ourselves to be misguided just to be closer to our family members. And for some people growing up and seeing that my mother didn't have a spouse, or my aunts didn't have a spouse, so I'm kind of taking in what they're telling me, thinking, well, because we think in a way that they lived was normal. Or it'd be like, oh, well, I know my aunt and my mother is always going to be there, so if things don't work out with my spouse, then they're always going to be there. But you're not even realizing that everything they put in your head is preparing you for the worst, because what they put in your head is going to cause you to fail in your relationship. And that's both with men and women. And a lot of the times they do that because they don't they don't they wouldn't want to see you doing better than they are, being in a happy relationship. We've even seen videos online, and we've seen this in real life. I remember watching a video where a woman was fixing her boyfriend a plate, and the women in her family was like, he can fix his own plate. You don't have to fix nothing for him. And he was like, see, why did you even invite me over here? They don't even mess with me. They don't even like me. And they practically was low key sabotaging, their niece's relationship, or they were trying to exert dominance over him. Tell him, don't get beside yourself. You better know your place. And that's pretty much, he just grabbed his stuff and left.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something too. Like, I'm waiting to everybody, especially Denise and Rakim right now, regarding the, how you were brought up in the household and things like that you saw. Like, I honestly thought, like, in my 20s and 30s, I was never going to get married or be engaged, because I didn't see it with my mom. I didn't see it with my aunts. I didn't see it with my grandma. My grandma had a boyfriend who she knew had another family or another life, and she was content with him taking care of her kids, which was my mom's aunts and uncles, and she was okay with that. And with my mom, again, I didn't see it, so it was like, all right, I'm never going to get married, and if I don't, it's okay, because I see how women have done it from generation to generation. So it's not a goal, it's not a mission, I'm not chasing it. If it happens, it happens. So I just want to add that too. Like, it really depends on your environment. And like, now that I'm 41, want to be 42, like, all right, I have to really transition and change myself to think different and break that cycle, because like, all right, you're not your grandmother and your auntie and your mother and everyone else. Like, you have to unlearn that and relearn something different, and that's very challenging, because that DNA is strong, that generational curse is strong.
I think that, I mean, I grew up seeing completely different things, because I not only when I was growing up, we were still somewhat very traditional, I would say, in Puerto Rico. But you add the layer that my family is extremely conservative. So, because they're very Christian. So a wedding is expected from you. The latest I've seen, 27. And that's old.
Mhm.
And that person,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
already, like at 20, I moved over here at 25 as a rebel. Like my aunts were driving me crazy. MK had the opportunity to meet my family this past Thanksgiving, like that side of my family. He knows how it's. So I grew up seeing weddings are expected. You're not supposed to be 30 and be unwed. You'll be considered like you have to put in work in the family if you want to be considered anything valuable. And your opinion is not gonna matter as much. Um, but I would say, right, from because I also have on my mom's side, I see the difference because most of them decided to move out here when they were young. So I see
Mm.
the difference in both sides of my family, and I see how environment does influence a person. And I would say that if you're young or old, because I don't think there's an age that you can put into this, and you want to break with family or generational curses, you have to understand that breaking generational curses like that, which is the lack of marriage or the lack of structure, that brings a lot of loneliness. Why? Because your family will try, because of their own lifestyle, they'll try to derail you in every step you take in the opposite direction. They will try to bring you back to their chaos. So you unfortunately will have to detach. And I find that the best way to do that is to do it with love. That means I still love you. I'll check up on you. I'll meet with you here and there, but I don't include you in my life and I don't include you in my choices. I don't ask for your opinion and I don't share my life.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
problems with your spouse, don't share with your family. Don't share with that type of people. Try to solve it with a specialist.
Mhm.
And I think that's the best. And I say this like from the bottom of my heart. There's a side of my family I don't share my relationship with. There's a side of my family that don't even know my spouse because they are chaotic and I just don't want to bring him over there.
Mhm.
You get my point? That's
The-
just how
the-
it is.
yeah, the Puerto Rican type of chaotic
Yeah,
is something
it's
special.
bad. It's bad.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's kind of like when it comes to me, there's a lot of my extended, not extended, but a lot of my family on my dad's side that I'm not really around. I'm not around my dad, and it's only my aunt. That's like my only real connection because through her, I can connect with my cousins, and but there is a lot of my family members that are very dysfunctional. So I'm not really in contact with them because there is no there is no real point to it.
Oh my
And
God, that's
yeah,
funny. Do you ever see Shameless? That's a dysfunctional family. I gotta see Shameless. It's about a white family
Oh my
and they're
God.
really
Yeah,
dysfunctional.
that's really bad. That's basically, look, that's some of my mom's side of the family. That's
hmm
basically how they are. It's just so. Like, I'm telling you, I've buried two cousins under 25 years old. One of them is heavily addicted, about to lose his leg because of heroin.
oh
And yeah, he's only 26.
shit.
And one just came out of prison for a stabbing that he didn't even do. 9 years he did in prison for that.
Mm.
So I have a whole side, and I don't get me wrong, I do check up on them, I talk to them, I mourn their losses. It's been very traumatic for me to lose those cousins. But
Mhm.
I mean, what can we do? There's nothing I can do. But I just don't include them in my core life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't because I know it's you got to see it as pollution, as radiation. If you go closer and closer to Chernobyl, you know you're gonna die. So they are Chernobyl, and you gotta protect your relationship. If you love something, you protect it. So if you really want to get married, you really want to have a healthy family, it starts with you, but you also have to understand it's gonna be lonely. It's going to be lonely. It's you gotta seek refuge in your children, your spouse, and make healthy friends.
Mhm.
And even so, it's going to be lonely. And I think a lot of people flake because it's hard to grow up with traditions and events and people, and then you miss them because you have to distance yourself from them in order
Hmm.
to get other things in your life. So it is hard, but I would say after I would say year two, you get used to it,
Yes.
and the more friendships you throw in the mix, the better it gets.
Yeah.
But it won't feel not lonely until your children are grown and married, and then you'll see that the sacrifices that you made paid off because they also have healthy marriages and they'll bring their families around you, so you won't be alone for long.
Hmm.
But
Well,
it's gonna be lonely for a minute.
in my case, it's been very rough because first of all, I had so many deaths in my family. I mean, within a 30-year period, I have lost both my parents, uh, four of my siblings, and one grandnephew.
Hmm.
And with the exception of my parents who lived to be past their 80s, I mean, a lot of
Mm.
my siblings, they passed away prematurely because they didn't take proper care of themselves. And in our family, the one that was really the glue was my mom. So once my mom passed away, basically everybody decided to go their own way. Now it's to the point where I only have contact with two of my siblings, because not even my nephews and nieces, they don't reach out to me, and I'm not gonna obligate anyone to do so. If you're not, if you don't feel it in your spirit to have any relationship with me, that is your issue. That is your loss. So I'm just going to deal with this with the people that's going to deal with me. I mean, it hurts, but that's the reality.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely like the same over here too. Like there's certain people like Denise, like I speak to them like on social media or by text, but we don't meet up, we don't congregate each other's houses because when you know, we have boundaries and family don't respect boundaries because they feel like they are family. So you gotta set your own invisible or transparent boundaries and just not be around certain people because you just know what the outcome's gonna be.
Yeah, I look, even my dad till this day he tells me don't mess with this side, don't mess with those people, don't mess with, like, there's a lot of things that I would say I would have done wrong if I would have stayed involved with specific sides of my family. And that pains you because you grew up with some of them partially. Some of my cousins that ended up like that started being raised in PR and then they moved to the United States. And you could see this shift because of the environment they were in.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I think now Puerto Rico is starting to slowly get into that same uh, type of lifestyle. Like if you go, I think the last stronghold of Puerto Rican culture is the East. If you go to say Luquillo, Fajardo, that
Hmm.
area is still very much like we used to be when I was growing up. But the more you get into the city, now even Caguas, where I'm from, like it's more modern and more like toxic to a degree.
Yeah, yeah, but
And
that's because Caguas, the city lines were redrawn to include Caguas as being part of Metropolitan San Juan, so that
yes,
might have
yes.
something to do with it. And there are certain towns, that are in the countryside, that are more in the rural areas, that still remain fairly traditional when it
Yeah.
comes to the
Yeah,
culture, but
that
not
whole
in the city.
thing,
Hmm.
about like divorce, for example. In my family, divorce is considered something disgusting. It's something that you just don't do.
Yeah.
You got My mom did it, and it took her close to 15 years for my family to accept that was the course, because for a very long time they tried to bring my mom and my dad together. They wouldn't accept that, and
Hmm.
they lost a little bit of respect for my mom and for my dad too, because of what they did, because you're supposed to fight for your relationship. It's
Hmm.
the most, and we were brought up thinking that a relationship is the most valuable thing you can have. And if you don't fight for that, I think that's why divorce, when you're in an environment like I was as a kid, with parents that taught you that, and then you see them divorce, it's kind of like a shock. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it
big,
makes somebody look a little bit disingenuous.
yeah,
Uh,
because it's because you assume like, hey, when I'm married with my own kids, I'm gonna be able to bring them back home to my parents, and they're still gonna be together. And then you don't have that. So to a degree, I see both the positive and the negative sides of my parents' divorce, because it also exposed me to a reality that could happen. So it makes me fight harder for my relationship.
yeah.
Uh, but in today's society, what happens is that you see your parents not work out, and instead of you learning how to fight harder for your relationship, because you don't have that system around you that will confirm that you have to keep going and
Um, Dennis, you cut off.
oh, I cut off.
Yeah, yeah. For a moment, I didn't hear anything.
Maybe it's the Wi-Fi.
No.
Shots.
Ooh.
I have
Uh,
new headphones, guys. So they are a little bit in and out. I don't know why.
oh, okay.
I'm
They
still trying to figure them out. Okay, I got them for Christmas. Do I have to push here, baby? Explain to me. But anyway, I think you guys got the concept of what I was trying to explain. We all
right.
have some degree of, damage when it comes to relationships and when it comes to marriages. But if you are to succeed, you gotta cut people off. Can you guys hear me now?
You're kind of going in and out, and
It's faint, but I can hear you.
yeah, it's just that the very last word that you said I didn't hear. Then you asked if we could hear you. That we heard, and you went out again. No. Yeah, you kind of went out, Dennis. We can't hear you. Okay, but in the meantime, any you fellas, you have something to add? Kishel apparently dropped off.
Yeah, I come from the dysfunctional family as well, so I know the ins and outs of being around dysfunction, or just like I come from where family members are jealous. They're very jealous of they can be very jealous of you. I remember one time when my grandmother would tell me,
Oh,
shout out to True. What's up, True?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
How's
True Teacher,
everybody
Happy New
doing?
Year.
Happy New Year
Happy
to
New
you.
Year.
hey, Truth, what's
Figure
happening, teacher?
I'm all right. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Yes, yes.
Figure,
Good to see you. Good to see you joining.
Yeah.
yeah, I figure I'd get in here and have a little chat with you guys before I go out
Hmm.
and do my New Year's Eve gig tonight. And
Well,
gives me a opportunity to take my mind off of what's happening in Gaza right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So we were talking about I don't know. Denise was talking about the fact that sometimes you got to cut family off because they're toxic, and that has been the biggest takeaway of my life this year. I had to let go of 3 family members. One of them was my cousin, who, for whatever reason, I don't know what, but from the time we were children, he was just always very mean-spirited, physically and verbally abusive. And, you know, I figured that, okay, that was when we were kids. Well, he was actually older than me. He was like 6 years older than me. And I'm like, you know, now you're a grown man. But no, didn't change. You know, got a situation where my aunt, unfortunately, she's in a nursing home. She's confined to a nursing home. And to be honest, she was very toxic when, you know, before she had the stroke, extremely toxic. But that was because, you know, she had mental health issues that never got addressed, you know, from the time she was a kid. You know, like having to deal with, you know, her father getting assassinated and not having housing stability, you know, having bouncing around from place to place. So she had a lot of issues. And unfortunately, you know, like back then, nobody knew anything about therapy and all of this stuff. So she had a lot of baggage, and she was hell on wheels. And then you add the religious fanaticism on top of it. So I get it. You know, he was pissed. But the thing is that he hated her so much that once he got her into the nursing home, he wanted to punish her. And he wanted to isolate her, you know, and I was the only one that was visiting her on a regular basis. He, not to go into the whole long story, but he banned me from visiting her. You know, he did it twice. The first time, you know, he used some pretext over a family situation to say that, you know, I'm trying to swindle her or something like swindle her out of what? She ain't got no fucking money or anything. But he was using that and saying, you know, I'm trying to take advantage of her and all of that. So he had me banned. But what I did is I snuck in like after hours and I'd go visit her. But he caught on because he was isolating her and saying that she's got dementia and all of that shit. She don't got no damn dementia. So I wanted the nursing home to reevaluate her, you know? And because I did that, he found out. And then I was like, I couldn't even come in the building, you know? But I fought it with a patient's right activist, you know, because even if she had dementia, if she can express the will that she wants to have visitation, that's her right. Nobody can stop that. So I was able to get that back, and he was so vicious, you know? And so I just realized I had to cut him off and not deal with him. My brother still, you know, communicated with him, but then he died unexpectedly at the beginning of this year. And it sounds fucked up to say, but I didn't mourn. You know, if anything, I felt a sense of relief because he was always a wild card. You know, you never knew like when he was going to jump up out of the blue and, you know, create some kind of unnecessary drama. And, yeah, you know, it's like I just realized then that family is not necessarily, or family is not only people that you share blood with. Family is about who you have emotional bonds with.
Oh,
you know, because even his own brother, his younger brother, I was talking to him one day, and he says, "Do you feel any kind of sadness that he's gone?" And I was like, "No, not really." And I said, "How about you?" He says, "I feel nothing." He said, "Because there was never any bond created between us. It's like he never established a relationship with me. There was no relationship. The shit was even so crazy that he was telling everybody that he lived in Connecticut. When he really lived in Westchester. Like, why are you even going to that length to make up these stories? And he was telling the nursing home that he couldn't visit my aunt because he lived in Michigan. Crazy shit.
Yeah, making excuses.
Yeah. So my cousin, he was like, it's not that I hate him or anything. It's just that we never had a relationship. And he resented him for whatever reason we will never know, but he resented him too. And then the final, two other relatives I had to let go of was my sister, well, my half sister, and my dad.
Your dad? Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
had to let him go.
Yeah, well, yeah, to a degree, I do understand, because I don't know if my sister ended up having to do the same thing, but when mom passed, my sister went out of her way to let dad know, and she was counting on him to show up to the service for mom, but he couldn't even do that, and that was kind of like the way that was the moment when, for him, me, I had to let it go, because he's had like 40 years to have a relationship with us, and he chose not to do that. So
exactly.
I'll let it go. I don't know about my sister. I haven't asked her, because she's the one who was making more of an effort to try to reconnect with him over the years. But it's always him being difficult to reach, always being difficult to establish kind of like an ongoing relationship with, because it's always him having something more important to do, and you can't reach him. And he might have a cell phone, but he keeps it off, so nobody can call him. He's that type.
Exactly.
And that's the way he was with us for years and years. Because it has to do with the way that he was brought up, because he was kind of like it was kind of messed up the way that he was brought up, because apparently there was some type of favoritism when it came to him and his sister. So he grew up kind of like, okay, for the first several years when he was married to my mom, and things seems to be going on okay, but after a certain point, then the problems started to come in. And by the time I was like 4 or 5 years old, it's very little what I remember of him being at home. And my parents separated, and for the next 40 something years, it will be here and there that my sister and I will try to reconnect with him, but he always has something more important to do, or some other woman to chase after, because it had to do with that. All of his problems, all of his issues had to do with him always chasing after the next woman, and issues with either child support and different baby mamas, because he has a few of them, and he was disconnected when it comes to the kids. So, and what happened last year when it came to the funeral, to the service for my mom, he couldn't even show up for that, and that's kind of like, well, okay, we tried all these years, we have to I'll let it go. I don't. Maybe my sister did. Maybe she hasn't, because she's the one who apparently was needing him kind of like the most, and maybe that will explain some of the issues that she has with men. But yeah, for decades we tried to reconnect with him. So I do understand the whole thing about letting it go. There is a time
Yeah,
when
you know,
go. Mhm.
the thing that I realized, and well, a couple of things that I realized. First of all, for years, I mean, it's the same dynamic that I had with him, an emotionally unavailable parent, and it's like pulling teeth trying to establish a relationship with him because he's just not emotionally available. And I realized that that's a result of whatever fucked up circumstances he grew up under. It's like, I think, culturally speaking, it's that upper middle class British unaffectionate kind of culture,
Yeah.
He was probably raised in that. Like, can I have one toasted? Un tostada? Un rollo? See, he grew up not knowing what it was to have affection in the home because his mom was hell on wheels. It was a dysfunctional marriage, but like Denise was saying, back in those days, you didn't get divorced. So no matter how crazy things got, they stayed together. So he never knew how to be a father. And I thought, like he got married, like he got remarried. My mom divorced him. And then he got remarried to this woman who, ironically, was the same kind of character as his mom, very domineering, very emasculating, very verbally abusive. And, I realized that, he didn't have it to give to me. So I couldn't expect it. It's like he doesn't know what it is. And I thought, all these years I felt bad because he had, I had a brother and a sister, from him and the bitch that he married. And I thought that they were having, the conventional happy family life. Well, my sister, she connected with me last year. And I was really happy because I figured, okay, you know what? His wife didn't want me in the picture and kept me at arm's length, but now we have a chance to create something that we should have had.
Yes.
And what she told me was that even though they were in the same house, he was not there. He was there in body, but not in spirit. It's like emotionally unavailable. So that made me realize I didn't lose anything because he didn't have anything to give. But what made it all come to a head is that I didn't realize that my sister was her mother's daughter. And she's like cut them off. She's like, oh, they're toxic, this, that, and the third. And she doesn't want to have anything to do with them. But she's the same, she's her mother. Same dynamic. And the reason why she connected with me wasn't because she genuinely wanted to have a connection, but she wanted to have somebody in the family to bitch to, and that would be on her side.
Right.
So I'm not going to go into the whole story, but things came to a head. And she told my father some things that I had confided in her, as far as my dissatisfaction with the family dynamic. And she really, how do I say this without going into detail? She had her first child, and I figured, okay, you know what? Even though she doesn't want to have anything to do with her father and her mother, at least he has the right to know he's got a grandchild. So I let him know. And that, I can only imagine that she picked up the phone and told him a whole bunch of really mean-spirited, devastating things.
Yeah.
And since then, my father hasn't spoken to me. It's like I tried to call him, I'm blocked. I sent
Oh
him
no, no, don't
messages
try.
on.
Don't keep trying then. Don't keep trying.
No, I mean, I got the message, I got the message. I mean, like I sent him a message on WhatsApp and he hasn't even looked at it.
Mm.
So, it was hurtful and I had to block my sister and realize, you know what? She's emotionally disturbed. And I can't have her in my life. And as far as he's concerned, I never had him in my life. So
Yeah.
the only thing that I lost was the illusion that he was there and the
Yeah.
illusion that, you know what, we can make a connection. But it was always like trying to have a conversation with him was like trying to talk to a brick wall. It's like you ever been in that situation? You're trying to create a conversation with somebody and they just give you one word answers.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. That's something that happened when I was more active, trying to talk to women, trying to meet women, and it eventually dawned on me that when women you try to talk to a woman and she gives you one word answers, she's not interested, and that's your cue. That's your cue to go somewhere else and move on because you're talking to a brick wall. But that
Exactly.
can happen with other people too.
And that's him. It's like, his way of dealing with trauma is to just, it's like to become, he's a turtle. He just draws into his shell and he locks out the whole world.
Yeah.
And my mom told me that, it was really very hard to pull him out. She was the one that pulled him out of his shell somewhat because he was just so introverted.
Isn't your dad? Is your dad related to mine or something? Because that's kind of what
Probably.
my mom used to say. That's kind of what my mom used to say about my dad. That she will have to sacarle las, como decimos, sacarle las palabras con cuchara, meaning that she will have to try to spoon words out of him because he wouldn't be good at communicating. But
Yeah.
but I don't know. It goes back also to the whole thing about us men not showing vulnerability because that can be used against us, and that's something that I learned years
Probably.
ago.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what it was with him growing up in his family because his mother was a real firecracker. And she kind of like turned all the kids against each other. So maybe his way of surviving was to just keep shut because maybe when he would try to speak up, she would take his words and use them against him.
Yes.
So maybe that was his defense mechanism, but it just he took it to the far extreme, and so I realized that, what, like I didn't lose anything. Like I never had a relationship with him.
Yep.
And he didn't have it to give to me. And I thought that my life would have been much better if I had grown up with him in the house. But the thing about it is that no, it wouldn't have been better. It would have been probably a lot worse. Because of the type of person that I am. And so, yeah, I mean, my big takeaway this year is what is real family? Real family are the people that you have an emotional connection with who really love you unconditionally. And
All right.
I'm lucky that I have people in my life that are ride and die. I
That's
got
good.
my sister and my brother that I grew up with, and I have like one person I consider, she's adopted family member.
Yes.
So I have my circle is very, very small, but they're genuine. And having people in your life just because you share blood doesn't mean that they deserve to be in your life or to have access to your life to sabotage. But that's the fairy tale that a lot of us were. No necesita una bolsa. See, we were all brought up with this fairy tale that, blood is thicker than water and family comes first, no matter how dysfunctional or toxic they are, like they have free access to screw up your life just because you share genes with them, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. And no, man, it's like, no, absolutely not. That's not acceptable. That's not
Yeah.
acceptable. And I think now we're starting to learn issues of, the importance of mental health,
It is.
the importance of, saving yourself. Excuse me. And that, people don't have a right to screw up your life just because.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to live your life, and do what's best for you. And a lot of people sometimes they won't understand that, but that's okay because, oh, stay with your husband. Stay. Yeah, but is he fucking beating your ass? Or the one that's getting your ass beat?
True. I'm having difficulty hearing you because there is a lot of wind around you.
Oh, is it better now?
Okay, yeah, it's better.
Okay. Yeah, so people want to tell you what you can and can't do, but it's like they're not the ones that are dealing with the consequences. So, but you know what it is though? I think with a lot of people, misery loves company. That's what it is. They want to see you, like God forbid that you actually did something with your life that they could only dream of. Because if they're miserable, nobody really wants to be miserable. But the thing is, a lot of people, they don't have the courage to do what it is necessary to create the kind of life that they want to live to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how can you divorce him? Like you say, once you make those vows, it's for life. How dare you divorce? They all wish that they could get rid of that motherfucker, man. There's so many people. Oh, my grandmother and father, they were married for 60 years. Yeah, 60 years of shit and misery, Not saying that that's the case all the time, but a lot of times.
There are ups and downs and difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's part of the vows for better or worse. That's part of the vows.
Excuse me. That's why I spent a good portion of my time talking about mental health issues because when you take a look, let's just forget YouTube because we know YouTube is it's a giant circus, but when you're dealing with the people outside of social media, you have a lot of hurt people that have untreated trauma.
Oh yeah,
they are in desperate need of therapy. The problem is you have to admit that you need therapy, and that's a huge obstacle because we all have a thing called an ego that states we don't need therapy, we can solve it for ourselves, and that's not true. If you take a look at how the way some people act, and again, let's forget about social media. I'm talking about in real life. We have people that are something that really like they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and
oh yeah,
you have to have enough self-love to distance yourself from some of these people. And especially in my case, I've been through so much trauma. The last thing I want is some wackadoo come in try to bring me more drama.
Oh, definitely not. No, nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. All of us are a bit too, maybe some of us are a bit too old for that. There are people that may be younger and they don't know better and they feel like they need to allow certain influences that are not the best for them. But definitely, no. That whole notion that we have to take in BS maybe because they are blood relatives, then no. You can do without it.
Look, in my case, I'm too old. I'm too old for that. My
Mhm.
thinking is, you don't want to. We may be related by blood, but if people don't want to deal with me, guess what? I'm not going to force you to do so. Okay. If I have to die alone, I'll die alone. So be it. But I mean, I love my mental health too much.
Hmm.
But it is what it is. Um, true teachers. It's really a pleasure to see you. I mean, the last time I saw you was in the summertime when we met up in
In
Rochester.
Rochester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys met up, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Maybe sometime if I ever in New York, I hope I can meet any of you. I mean, I did
Well,
have a chance.
let us know, and
Yeah.
Definitely.
and then we'll get together. Maybe we can meet in Parkchester or Jersey City.
Yeah.
Jose can travel.
Or we can meet in Orchard Beach in the summertime.
No. I don't think I want to go to Orchard Beach. After all I have heard about it. No, thanks.
I mean, it is the French Riviera of the Bronx.
Hell no. No. I mean, I have seen what a real beach looks like, so I'm not trying to go to no Chocha Beach. I heard that that's what they call it, Chocha Beach. So it's like,
Yeah.
look,
But it's ours.
Vamos a poner.
Well, believe it or not, this morning I saw my first rat in Parkchester.
That you don't have what?
I saw my first rat in Parkchester.
Your first ride today, but you're not talking about the 300 ones that you saw yesterday and the day before, and so on.
No, I mean, no, we have a bunch of squirrels in Parkchester, but just one rat.
I used to teach dance classes in Parkchester. You got more than just one.
Yeah. They'll fight you. You can't scare them off. They'll fight you and they'll steal your pizza. If you're not
Listen,
careful.
they should be. They're their own ethnic group. They need to have their own like box on the census.
Oh, they're gonna be included in the census or something. Oh shit.
But I may be going to LA. I think this summer. So hopefully I can hook up with Denise and MK.
Oh yeah, they got to show you around, man.
Yeah.
Golly. I can't get it out of my
Oh,
head. That image
please.
of that rat in the bodega, that fat rat. It was so fat it moved slow. I mean, rats are supposed to move quickly to avoid getting caught or killed, but no, rats move slow because they're so fat. Yeah.
Well, hey, they're on the same diet that we are. So.
Well,
what do you
yeah,
expect?
they're eating the same trash, the same from the same stuff. So they're proportionately overweight.
Or maybe it just has a glandular problem.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, True Teacher, we can meet up sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm still job hunting.
All right.
And that's a whole learning process in and of itself that I didn't expect. I didn't think it was going to be this challenging, but I guess I should have known better. But everybody out of college has the same thing. You go looking for a job and how many years experience do you have? Like, none, bitch. I just graduated. Like,
Well,
so you just got to keep knocking on the doors until one opens,
Well, believe it or not, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, and I couldn't use my degree to get anything in the business world. So I ended up in social services. So in a few years, I'll be retiring.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So something I wanted to say really quick to our man Maceo El Moro, who is in the chat. The whole thing with Simone Biles, if you can check the playback, and I'll go into it because we're not really touching on that subject right now. But if you go into the playback, you'll see what we're talking about. I mean, because the whole thing with Simone Biles, she married a guy who's not as successful as she is. So that's basically the basis of what the whole thing, all the criticism that she's getting her ways comes from. She married a football player who, yes, he's playing in the NFL, but he's somebody who wasn't drafted. So the success is not comparable. So that's being kind of used against them to criticize her, and you married a Dusty. Basically, that's what they're trying to tell her. So that's a cliff note for you.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing that you're neglecting is that she pursued the guy.
Yeah, and also because she shot her shot. And Marcel, as you know, in our culture, women taking the initiative is not seen as a negative. It's actually seen as her being assertive, which is a positive for us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, you got to just not pay people any mind seriously, and especially if you're in the media, you're an entertainer, you need to know how to block that out, because it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like these same people talking shit about her were the ones that were talking shit about first thing when she won that gold medal. The first thing that they're talking about is not congratulations, but look at her hair.
Yes. Oh, I highlighted that earlier in the stream, where there were a whole bunch of women criticizing her because of her hair. They were not congratulating her for winning the gold medals, because medals, plural, because she won a few in Rio de Janeiro. They were not saying that they were talking about her hair. Mm-hmm.
Let me see you do a whole bunch of fucking flips and somersaults and turns, and then let me see how the fuck your hair looks.
Yeah, that's
at the end of that.
What she does is very dangerous. I mean, it all takes the wrong fall, and somebody can end up in a wheelchair, because what she does is really dangerous.
Well,
meanwhile,
guys,
the white girls be having their hairs like flying all over the damn place, and nobody's criticizing them.
Well, I'm not going to talk because basically I don't have that much hair left in me, but I still look good for my age.
Nah, that's all right. That's all right. Well, you can just shave it all off. There are women that like the bald look.
Yeah, but I don't think Clara will appreciate it too much.
Clara? Yeah, she will. I mean, she will caress it, and she will rub balm on it and all, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, get her some cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Well, she's just to give you an update, she has an appointment for her fingerprints next month. For her to get her visiting visa.
Oh, finally. Good. Yeah, listen, look at what Kichel is talking about. The bald head looks good on some guys. Yeah. I'm sure it can.
True. But then again, if I shave it off, then I'm gonna have to constantly shave it, and I have a busy schedule between my job.
Well, you shave your face every day.
Every time but you can have one of those shavers that they come out with now that you can do it yourself in a matter of minutes. So you can
it's in the palm of your hand.
Yeah,
with the rotary blade.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, guys, I'm getting ready to hop off because I'm going out tonight, New Year's Eve. I'm going to a New Year's Eve party, and of course, unfortunately, the weather's not cold outside. But you make do and just have fun. What?
It's cold enough.
It is not cold. It's
cold enough.
Like 45 degrees outside.
No, okay.
It's freezing.
Not for me. Oh, I don't believe what Denise put down. I would be 10 years younger. Oh my goodness gracious! You know what? Maybe the next time I'll just have it shave all off just to see how I look like.
Well, try it. Try it. I'm sure she. I'm sure she. I'm sure it's gonna work out, and Clara will like it. She will like it. I'm sure she will.
Well,
You're gonna be mi calvito. You're gonna say something like that.
well, before I go, let me just, because I want to talk a little bit about my platform. I'm going to be live tomorrow night around 8 o'clock, and I'm going to be talking about New Year's resolutions because that's something we do every year, but only about 5% of the people actually manage to keep their resolutions going throughout the year. So I'm going to be talking about some ways that you can try to keep your New Year's resolution. Oh, and of course, I already reached 50,000 views on my platform, and I have gained almost 50 subs within a 3 month period.
All right. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
So-
good.
So it was a real pleasure talking to you guys. Ramon, you're more than welcome to come to New York in the wintertime. If you do that, I'll come to Texas.
Not in the winter time. No. I'll get bronchitis. No, I can't do it. Can't do
Yes,
it.
yes,
No,
you
it
can.
has to be. It has to be when it's warm. Like when I went there for my birthday, it was nice and warm, and I could move around, walk around, not having to wear a whole bunch of clothes.
It's
I
more
mean, but
exciting in the summer.
That what? What was that?
It's more exciting in the summer. You got your street performers, you got the
Yes.
street fairs, you got, a lot of really interesting things happening,
Yeah. Well, take care, guys.
Even Jose has to admit that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we had a wonderful time in Parkchester, which is the jewel of
Yeah,
the
we
Bronx.
did. Mhm.
That's good.
So take
That's
care,
good.
guys. Happy New Year.
All right. Take care,
You
Don
too.
Jose. Thanks for coming up.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Yeah, and actually, and I'm not gonna be much longer here because I haven't eaten. So when I don't eat, I get a little grumpy. So yeah, so I'm actually gonna be getting ready to take like final statements from you guys. Anything final that you wanna share before I end the live stream? And I haven't heard anything from Rakim in a while, so if we can start with you.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to say Happy New Year's to everybody. Enjoy your New Year's Day. And
Mhm.
Me personally, I'm going to be working, but
Mm.
everybody goes out, they enjoy. Be safe out here. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
All right, get that money. I understand. I mean, it kind of sucks. I know it kind of sucks because it being the New Year's. But if you have an opportunity, you're getting paid. Do what you have to do. That's all right. So I appreciate you coming up. So and yeah. It's just I wanted to make sure that you got whatever it is that you wanted to say about the subject and what we were talking about, but also I will take the.
Oh
uh,
yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Ramon. I just want to say, this is not, this is not nothing new. A lot of people are wishing, the worst for this young lady and this young man. But like they said, she pursued him. She said it. She knows what she wants. She likes what she wants. And she obviously, but another thing that they didn't talk about in the interview is how he bigged her up. He bigged her up a lot. And he was saying how much that he's been there to support her in her times of need and different things like that. And it was way much more to the interview than those little clips that people put out there. But yeah, she went, she got she got the man that she wanted, and much respect and much love to the brother, and I hope that everything works out for the best in their relationship.
Yeah, something that they don't talk about is that he's been very supportive publicly when it came to the whole thing about Simone withdrawing from the Tokyo Olympics, because she did participated on a couple of events and she did win a medal, but she had to withdraw from a couple of other gymnastic events because she was having issues, mental health issues, and the guy was being very supportive about it, publicly supportive. She never talked about that part. So I don't think it's fair all the mess that he's getting, talking about that he saw himself as valuable. So I don't think it is felt as the treatment, but that's this mess that one has to deal with because of the emotional reactions that come with it. Making certain statements, saying certain
Well,
things.
you know what?
Yeah.
Better that she pulled out of the Olympics before she went ahead and did it and ended up with a career-ending injury. So
Yeah, because her mind wasn't completely there because of the pressure and the stress that comes with it. And she was talking about that on certain things, certain exercises that she was doing. She was feeling dizzy. So one can only imagine how incredible the pressure must have been. I mean,
it's
stress can
extremely physically demanding.
You know what just came to my head when you talked about a career-ending injury? True teacher. Who remembers that situation in the Olympics? I don't know why I remember this, but I can't remember their names. But I don't know who remembers the situation where the somebody paid this dude to hit this ice skater in the knee.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he hit her in the knee with a hammer or something, but remember when
It was a pipe.
yeah, and she was like, "Why?
What? Yeah, you're talking about, I think it was Tonya Harding, the Tonya Harding situation.
Tonya Harding.
And I think
Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah, because I think Nancy Kerrigan was her competitor. She paid the dude to do that or something like that. And that was so foul. That's what I thought. That's the only thing I remember about the Olympics, man. I was like, man, that was so foul.
Yeah, it was a hot mess. That was messed up. Yeah.
Oh my God! I saw years later they did a documentary about the whole thing. That chick is crazy.
I think that they even did a movie too. I think there is a movie also.
That is really some Disney villain stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, who the fuck does that? Like, seriously? God damn.
Yeah.
That was some ghetto shit, boy.
Yeah. That was trash. That was trailer trash.
Oh my God.
That was pretty. That was pretty bogus. I would have like, man, now that's messed up.
Yeah, that was so caring. That was some caring shit. Yeah.
But yeah, like so a lot of people, wishing the worst for this young lady, but it is what it is. Now we see, as they say in the South, my great grandmother used to say, a hit dog will holler. So that's pretty much what it is with a lot of these bitter people that's online, man. And that's one thing I've learned over being on YouTube. YouTube and online has some of the most miserable, broken, and they'll just let it spew out because they'll say some of the most vile, foul stuff that a person can really say. And,
you know what it is? It's the same, it's just people being people, but you see, back in the day, you had to keep your crazy to yourself, for the most part. So, like social media, it's a blessing and a curse, Now it's like you get to hear everybody's crazy because everybody's got access to a platform. And because they got the anonymity of the screen, they can just let all the craziness inside their head just fly. And you're like, holy shit, man. So now you know why the world is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's not a lot of people that think before they speak. There's not a lot of people.
Yep.
But you know what? It's kind of like, and then you can find yourself in situations based off of how my boy Ghostface said on the Boondocks when you're dealing with somebody. He was like, in then they start talking crazy, and they ignorance cause you to act crazy, and like that's how it can be online sometimes too, man. Some people so ignorant, like,
yeah.
I got to speak to you in your language because that's the only thing you'll understand. And
All right.
That's why I've been pulling back on how much social media I consume and realizing that I don't have to have an answer for everybody or everything that I see. And, this whole thing that's going on in Gaza right now was, and some interactions that I've been having with people on Facebook and different platforms. I'm like, you know what? Man, we really shouldn't be surprised, but it's something to see, like genocide happening right in front of you, like on TV. And I realized that, I got to pull back because there's nothing that I'm going to do that's going to change the situation.
And you know what's crazy about that whole scenario is that they turn around and you've invaded these people's land, you've taken these people's land, you've massacred a lot of these people, and then you created a jewel of wealth right there within that pocket while these people are starving with no type of resources, with no type of electricity, living in squalor, and you're surprised that they have hatred and animosity towards you. And what do? You turn around and you blame the victim on what you did, and that's pathological. It's pathological.
But
we got to do
one thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, go ahead, Truth. I was just gonna say, and that's pretty much that's global history of people taking over people's stuff or doing things to certain people, and then they put out a narrative that those people are the problem. So if you follow it, you know better. But yeah.
Well, one thing that this whole situation has taught me is that we all have to acknowledge the fact that we have a dark side, and to us, all of us, even if we're people who are experiencing persecution, we have the same potential to be monsters. Because look at the situation, like we all pretty much agree that what happened during the Holocaust was unimaginable, deplorable. But now those people, making a distinction between Jews and Zionists, because it's not the same thing. But you have a certain group of people who happen to be Jewish, and they end up in a position where they have power. And now look at what they did. They've become the very same thing that they hated. Because they're doing
the difference being that they have been doing that for decades, since after 1947, and they have been with the support of the UN, the useless UN, and there are calls from countries around the world to have a real ceasefire to stop the bombing in Gaza and stop this collective punishment practice that is going on, but because the United States stays quiet about it, so they can continue doing it, and they're not stopping the ceasefire.
They even bombed Bethlehem on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's some crazy shit.
Here's the thing that people don't understand is that everything is about money and power. Everything.
Yep.
A lot of people, we like to pretend that, why is this happening? Well, if you follow the money and you follow the laws and the policies and the history of what people have done, then you will know. And it's practically, and for every action is a reaction, and it's a chain of events that that are caused by action and reaction. And when you look at what's going on with them over there, like the thing that people keep forgetting is that when you put people in a position where they don't have nothing to lose, they don't care.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nothing. What you gonna threaten me with? I didn't seen my relatives' heads mushroom from behind their scalp. I didn't seen my other relatives laying deleted on the ground. I didn't already seen everything. You done took everything from me. What can you possibly threaten? I want to go. What can you threaten me with?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I mean, you know,
My thing is, I know I'm gonna go. My thing is, how many of y'all I'm gonna take with me?
exactly. You know, this is why I say, you know, my thing is I look at myself and I say, you know what? Let me be totally honest with myself and acknowledge my dark side so that it doesn't end up taking me over one day. Because when you in a position where you get money and you get power, that's when you find out what your character is really made of. And if you haven't taken the time to develop your character and your moral compass ahead of time, you will find yourself becoming the very same thing that you once hated. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and none of us are any better intrinsically than the others. So, you know, they use the Holocaust as emotional blackmail to do whatever they want to do. But the fact of the matter is that human beings, we are all the same. And if we don't acknowledge our shadow side, if we don't acknowledge the fact that we have a dark side, that we have an evil side to us, we end up becoming, the oppressor tomorrow. And that's the thing that really hurts me the most, is to see that instead of learning from what they experienced and making the world a better place, they've actually become the same thing. They're no different than the Nazis. Because there's not, I mean, like, what has the Nazis done that they're not doing now? You know, and that's the part that hurts, because, you know, when you think about the Holocaust and all of that, it's like your heart goes out to those people and what they went through. You know, and it's not because, oh, they were nice people. Look, listen, human beings are fucking messy and complicated, just as we've been discussing. Like, you know, this whole discussion, God damn it, stop! Shit! What the fuck is this about? You know, human beings are messy and complicated, and we're a mixed bag. You know, you got your good people, you got your bad people, you got your crazy people, but at the end of the day, human life is sacred.
You forget one element of people, Truth. You got your good people, you got your bad people, you got your crazy people, and you got your evil people.
Yes, exactly. But at the end of the day, you know, within any group, within any community, you have all of the above. So even in the Holocaust, you know, the people that were victimized in the Holocaust, there were some crazy people in there. There were some evil people there. There were some, you know, wife beaters and all of that. But at the end of the day, though, human life is still sacred. No matter how fucked up the person might be, it's not a matter of, you know, well, you deserve to live because you're a nice person. You know, we all have our moments when we've done or said, you know, something that was fucked up. You know, and if we have a moral compass, you know, we look back and we feel bad about it, you know, and we try to make amends if we can. But if the gift of life was given to all of us just based on the fact of how nice we are, I think we all be dead. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because I've known some nice people out there to be taken advantage of by more people that tried to do the right thing, or people that tried to live their lives. It's just the corruption of the world turns them into that. And I think a lot of the times too, yeah, I believe is nice people and is good people that get taken they get taken advantage of, and then that turns them into something more than
Exactly.
because they refuse.
But then on the flip side, you have some people that maybe they started out like being a real evil son of a bitch, but through whatever miracle and intervention of God, like they found themselves and they turned themselves around, So that's why human life is precious, because every day we wake up, we have another opportunity to get it right. And we have another day and another opportunity to improve ourselves. If we've got aspects of our characters that are a little bit raggedy around the edges, then
Truth. You cut out, but I
So
do have to end
wait.
the stream. Oh, okay. Yeah, you
Oh,
cut
you
out
gotta
for
go?
you cut out for a moment, but I do need to end the stream because I do have to go. I don't want
I'll,
to get
I'll
into that
speak to you
subject.
backstage, Truth.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
man.
I can do that. I can just end the stream, and you guys can keep talking. It's just that I have to go. So I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that came on the panel. I appreciate it. You guys have a good New Year's Eve. Get ready to celebrate. Do what it is that you have to do. Do it safely. Don't get too crazy. So we'll talk again soon. Take care of yourselves and have a good New Year. And until then, this was Introvert Boricua and peace.
Okay, and off he goes to fight crime.